Welcome to Biology My Passion. I am Soumya Harikrishna. We are learning the chapter Excretory Products under Elimination. Now let's learn the regulation of kidney function. There are different ways in which kidney functions are being regulated. Which are the two functions of kidney? One is the removal of nitrogenous waste and the second one is osmoregulation. Osmoregulation means maintaining the ionic and pH balance, thereby adjusting the water content in the body. We know that if enough water is not excreted out, then the water retention will happen in the body. It will lead to blood pressure because the blood has more amount of water in it, and also edema means swelling up of the body. If excess water goes out of the body, that is also dangerous. It can lead to low blood pressure and also it can affect our metabolic activities and dehydration. Both these should be controlled. So there are many receptors which are sensing all these changes in the kidney. There are receptors all over the body doing various functions. I have already mentioned receptors are like spy. They are looking each and everything happening in the body and they immediately give message to the brain telling that this is what is happening. That is the role of receptors. There are receptors in the kidney, they are called the osmoreceptors. They are very sensitive to blood volume, body fluid volume and ionic concentration in the body. So if there is any change, unusual thing happening in any of these parameters, immediately these receptors get activated and they send message to the brain telling that this is what is happening. So to whom they are informing? To the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus actually makes two hormones. One is this vasopressin or ADH, anti-diuretic hormone, and the other one is oxytocin, or which is a birth hormone. So these two hormones, though hypothalamus is preparing, it is secreted out through the posterior pituitary or neurohypophysis. So hypothalamus once gets the message from the receptors telling that there is some change in the blood flow, everything, that will secrete the hormone accordingly. We are going to learn about two types of kidney regulation. One is through vasopressin, second one is through another hormone called renin. So first one, let's see when is it happening. ADH or vasopressin is anti-diuretic hormone. Anti means what? Against. Diuresis means what? Dilute urine is passed out of the body. So anti-diuretic means preventing diuresis. So when should it be secreted? When there is diuresis, right? So when excess water goes out of the body, that is we excrete hypotonic urine, naturally the body fluid and the blood volume will come down. So osmoreceptors will immediately message to hypothalamus stating that you need to absorb more water because excess water is going out. Then hypothalamus will tell pituitary, please secrete that vasopressin I have given you to store, please secrete it out. So the neurohypophysis or the posterior pituitary will now secrete the vasopressin or anti-diuretic hormone. So anti-diuretic hormone or vasopressin can function in two ways. So first is, in this case, if there is diuresis, it will help in the reabsorption of water from the distal part of the tubule, means distal convoluted tubule. When we learned about reabsorption, we found that in the previous video, PCT is a obligatory reabsorption, whereas in DCT it is that is conditional reabsorption, means whenever we need we have to. So now since excess water is going out, ADH will tell please absorb more water back, we need it. So more water will be absorbed from the DCT. So when more water is absorbed, what happens? The body fluid volume will increase. That will switch off the receptor. Now receptors will have to tell when it is proper also. Otherwise what happens? We retain water, it will lead to another condition called the edema. So any hormone secreted should be stopped as soon as the function is done. So in this case, now receptors are switched off. That will suppress the secretion of ADH further from the hypothalamus. So ADH secretion will stop. Again, next when this condition is detected, immediately the same process will happen. Hypothalamus will secrete, that is the receptors, osmoreceptors will inform hypothalamus. Hypothalamus will secrete vasopressin through the neurohypophysis. Vasopressin will act as a help in reabsorbing water from the distal part of the tubule, which will increase the body fluid volume. That in turn will switch off the receptors and thereby suppress the secretion of ADH, right? Now, one more way is there, that is whenever there is a lack of blood pressure, so what happens, GFR rate will also come down, because we know that high pressure is actually acting in the glomerulus as a squeezing effect for the formation of filtrate. So whenever there is a lack of this condition, constriction of blood vessel will happen in the glomerulus. So the constricted blood vessels will squeeze more filtrate. As a result, blood pressure increases, which in turn will increase glomerular filtration rate also. So more water will be secreted out of the or filtered out of the blood in that case. So ADH, two modes of actions are there. Let us now discuss the second type of kidney function regulation, that is using JGA, that is juxtaglomerular apparatus. So when there is actually a decrease in the GFR rate, that is not enough, 125 ml is not getting filtrated, so that time the JG cells get activated. So the JGA or juxtaglomerular apparatus have cells called the JG cells. These JG cells can secrete a hormone called the renin. So when you write the spelling, you should be careful, RENIN. That is a hormone secreted by JGA. Why I told about the spelling? Because RENNIN, renin, is a milk digesting protein which is present in infants. Okay, so it's not a milk digesting protein, milk digesting enzyme. Okay, here it is hormone. So there is renin, what will it do? There is something called the angiotensinogen. Whenever ogen comes, what do you understand? It is inactive form. So it will convert, this renin, presence of the renin will convert angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1. So this angiotensin 1 will immediately become angiotensin 2 with the effect of the same hormone renin. Now angiotensin 2, like our ADH, again two ways it can function. One, it acts as a vasoconstrictor. Vaso means what? Vessel, blood vessel. Vessel is constricted. So whenever vessel is constricted, blood pressure increases, that acts as a squeezing effect, more filtrate will form, right? So when there is not enough filtrate is forming, the blood vessels shrink or constrict in order to make more filtrate. The same thing we experience in our lives when we make juice in the this mixer. After that, when we are straining it, initially all the juice will come, but after that we press it so that all the rest of the juice also will come down. Or sometimes we keep inside the clothes and we twist it so that maximum squeezing effect is there. The same thing here also. But for that constriction, who is required? Angiotensin 2. Okay. So whenever there is a fall in GFR, JG cells will secrete renin. Renin will convert angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1 and angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2. Angiotensin 2 will act as a vasoconstrictor, thereby increasing the blood pressure and glomerular filtration rate. So it was decreased, now it is okay, normal. Understood? So that is the first way. Now the second way, this angiotensin 2 can also stimulate the adrenal cortex. Adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla, means outer part and inner part of the adrenal gland, can also secrete the hormones. So adrenal cortex secretes a hormone called the aldosterone. So this aldosterone is a mineralocorticoid. So this aldosterone will eventually do the reabsorption of sodium and water from the distal part of the tubule, that is near the DCT. It will reabsorb sodium and water. So thereby when more water is reabsorbed into the blood, what happens? Blood pressure will increase. If blood pressure increases, what happens? GFR also will increase, more blood pressure. Instead of squeezing, here what they are doing? They are increasing the absorption of water and sodium, thereby blood volume increases, pressure increases, again GFR will increase. Right? Now, if this is continuing for a longer period of time, we know here pressure we are increasing to filter out. But we do not want the blood pressure to be high, right? We need to, this is a temporary adjustment. When it is falling, okay, we can increase the pressure for some time and make the GFR more, but it should not continue because high blood pressure is not good for our health. So what should we do? Immediately we have to bring down the blood pressure. So there is a check acting on this system that is called the RAS. RAS stands for renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, or simply renin-angiotensin system. So here what happens is our blood is under high pressure. So naturally more blood will be pumped into the atrium, because from all the organs, where is it reaching? To the right atrium. So the right atrium receives more blood flow increases, so the atrium will think this is not normal, some unusual thing is happening, so I need to control it. So immediately the heart will secrete a hormone, that is ANF. ANF stands for atrial natriuretic factor. Again, atrial natriuretic factor, or ANF. This ANF is a vasodilator. It can dilate the vessels, means it can expand the vessels, because aldosterone and also this angiotensin 2 had constricted it. Now this ANF will go and tell, okay, enough, it will expand it. Once it is expanded, BP will come down. This is how RAS is keeping under check. Whereas in the case of first case, ADH or vasopressin B, so feedback is by whom? Switching off of osmoregulators when the body fluid volume is normal, right? Here also it should stop. The stopping is by the renin-angiotensin system, or renin-angiotensin aldosterone system is checked by our ANF, atrial natriuretic factor. So this can come as a question. ANF acts as a check on RAS. Explain or justify. Hope you understood all the concepts I am discussing. Please do me a favor, when you are watching, if you are finding it is useful, please give me a like. It makes a lot of difference to my videos, and I am getting comments from you all that your video is underrated, it's very good, like that. So if so, at least each one of you can share to minimum one person, it will reach more students and they all will get benefited. Please help me in reaching out to more audience. Thank you for watching Biology My Passion.